What's up, nerds? We're your hosts. I am Chad.
And I am Jake. This is our weekly podcast where we explore the world of nerd from TV, movies, games, comics, news, and books.
We will give you our opinions, theories, and oftentimes spoilers.
We will also have friends and experts as guests on the show to elaborate further on those topics.
But be prepared. We like to have a few drinks, so buckle up.
If you want to support our show, like, share, and subscribe wherever you enjoy your podcasts.
You can also become a premium subscriber over at buymeacoffee.com/allthingsnerd.
So let's get into it. This is the All Things Nerd podcast.
Nerd. Welcome, nerds, to the All Things Nerd podcast, your weekly dive into all things nerd. Jake, I hope you had a good week this week, but let's jump right into our first topic. Cheers.
Think. Yeah. All right. We're gonna talk about Ahsoka episode 7. That's gonna be the first topic of conversation for this week. I don't know. One of the biggest things so far for me is because everybody who's listens to the show knows that have not been digging this show much. I did like the past 2 episodes quite a bit. And one of the things that they absolutely nailed for me in this episode is Ezra's personality. Yeah. We don't get a lot of personality from Ezra in the episode 6 because it's like at the end of the episode, you know.
Yeah.
But this one, we get to like actually have some dialogue with him, and that like cocky, like jokey, like personality definitely came out, and I fucking love that.
Yeah.
They agree. It's like, whoa. Don't you want to take us as like prisoners, right? Prisoners? You know, like, it's just funny. That's just how he is in Rebels, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, they nailed the casting too.
Yeah.
Like, Aman, is it Esfani or Estani? I should have double checked that.
I'll do it right now.
Looks the part. You know, he looks like an older Ezra, you know, instead of being maybe 20 like he is at the end of Rebels, you know, looking to be about a 30-year-old dude.
Esfandi. Iman Esfandi.
But yeah, they absolutely nail it. There's kind of a funny moment when him and Sabine get surrounded by Thrawn's troopers, and she tries to give him back his lightsaber. She's like, here, it's yours. He's like, no, I gave it to you. Like, you hang on to it. She's like, I've got guns. You need something. Like, take it. And he's like, no, I'm good. The Force is my ally. Like, still, like, with his cockiness, but then he backs it up.
Yeah.
It's awesome. This is one of the better choreographed fights. I mean, there's a moment where he's going, like, toe-to-toe with Shin Hati and she's running her saber. And he's just, like, dodging effortlessly. There's a point where he, like, force catches a swing, and what I thought was so cool, it's like a blink and you'll miss it, but the blade of her lightsaber like arcs as he's using the force to like push against it. Mm-hmm. It looked so rad.
Yeah,
absolutely nailed the character.
I think what's really cool about that part is, I told you about it, but obviously whatever, is that in season 3, I think, of Rebels, there's a moment where Kanan sends Ezra into like the spider caves, and he tells Ezra to leave his saber behind, and Ezra's like, what are you talking about? I'll get killed in there. And he's like, leave your saber behind. And then I can't remember who it is, maybe it's Hera, I think you said, is standing next to Kanan and is like, dude, you can't send him in there without his saber. And then Kanan says he needs to learn how to problem solve without the saber. So it was cool to see in this episode of Ahsoka where Sabine tries to give him his lightsaber back, and he's like, "I'm good."
Yeah, I don't
Like
need
I
it.
thought that was cool. I think it was kind of a callback, but you know,
I mean, he's had to spend the last 10 years surviving without a
yeah,
lightsaber as it
yeah,
is, which is crazy. And what's I think is kind of cool is it's the complete opposite of how like Obi-Wan and Anakin in the prequels treated their lightsabers. Like Anakin loses his lightsaber at one point in time, Obi-Wan catches it, and he's like,
all the time
"Hold on to this.
because
This is a
he
Jedi's."
continuously loses it. Yeah,
Loses it, breaks them, whatever. And he's like, this is a Jedi's lifeline. And Kanan's like, you might not always be able to use it. You have to be able to survive without it.
mm-hmm.
I thought that was a really cool... Once you brought that back to my attention from that scene in Rebels, it was a really cool like contrast between the 2 teaching styles.
Agreed.
We still get Sabine just not owning up to how much she put on the line just to find Ezra. Just dodging questions, and there's even a moment in the episode where Ezra was like, "No, answer the question." Like,
Yeah,
come on.
she still doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was. It sucks because I love Sabine. Sabine in Rebels is amazing. I think that
agree.
is it Liza? That's now I can't remember the actress's name. That's playing Sabine.
Oh, in Ahsoka,
Yeah, in live action.
Natasha
Natasha
Bordizzo.
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 Wow. I was so wrong. I just knew that there was 2 Z's somewhere in her name next to each other.
Not Lizzo, bud.
Well, I said Liza because I knew it wasn't Lizzo.
And then something. So I just finished watching Rebels last night, last night. Technically, it was like 1 a.m, but whatever. Neither here
Tomato
nor
potato.
there. But I just finished watching Rebels, and I have a theory, and I ran it by you today because you know more about Star Wars than I do, and you were like, "Holy shit, dude, you're right." So I'm gonna share that theory real quick. And spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't watched Rebels or Ahsoka, anyways. In season 4, episode 10, Kanan, who's Ezra's master, dies. But before he dies, he loses his lightsaber. And then he dies. And then the following episode 11, what is it? She's the governor, right?
Yeah, she's
Something
the
like that?
governor of. I think she takes over as governor of Lothal
Yeah.
after they
and
run Ryder out. But
she gets Kanan's lightsaber, and she says that she's going to give it to Thrawn as a trophy for killing a Jedi. And that's the last time that we ever hear or see anything about Kanan's lightsaber. And last week, Chad and I were talking about what we think is going to happen with Ezra's lightsaber, because now we know he has given it to Sabine. He's like, you've been training with it, take it. But he's a Jedi with no lightsaber. I think Thrawn has Kanan's lightsaber, and I think at the end of this show, Ezra will end up with his master's lightsaber, and that'll be his new lightsaber.
yeah, because for those that watched Rebels, we know that Thrawn has like a trophy room.
Yeah.
I mean, he even excavated the wall mural from Rebels that allowed Ezra to go to the world between worlds. That's somewhere on the ship. That's what I thought for a long time is what Balin was after, because he's like, I'm searching for like a deeper power, like something beyond the Empire and the Jedi Order. The world between worlds, free access to it, he could change the events of history.
Yeah.
I mean, but we know that Thrawn has all these trophies, so that makes perfect sense. And in like Jedi training fashion, that's why so many lightsabers look the same. Like Obi-Wan, Luke's final lightsaber when it's no longer Anakin's, because Obi-Wan's lightsaber changed from Episode 1 to, by the time they're in Episode 3, it's starting to resemble more like Yoda's, because Yoda takes over his training. Usually the Padawan mimics their lightsaber build off of their master as a sign of respect. And then Luke obviously doing the same, training under Obi-Wan and Yoda. Like, it's just a cool little nod, but it would make sense that he would accept using Kanan's lightsaber. So it canonically it makes a lot of sense too.
I think it would make like a like a nice like touching moment for Hera to be like, you should take this, like he was your you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but
and then hopefully
keep it.
he starts training Jason too.
That would be dope. Yeah. But yeah, that's my prediction. I think it's probably pretty spot on. If they don't do that, it would be one of those things that like some shows like introduce something and then never do anything with it, and that would bother the fucking shit out of me.
Yeah.
So they better do something.
Like,
with it.
where did that storyline go? Like, you put it in the show for people to be like, oh, something else is coming, and then just nothing.
Yeah, that would fucking drive me back.
Yeah, just
crazy.
straight whiskey dick storytelling. Because like nothing came from it, you know. Like, man. Sorry, Mom.
Something we didn't write down. I just real quick. There's two things actually. There's Zeb. They mentioned him in this episode, which is awesome. I really want to see him live action. Which, I mean, live action just means really good CGI these days. But, and then, fucking, I want to see a Lothwolf, man.
I know.
Dude, in Rebels, the Lothwolves are fucking ballers.
And they're nailed like, the Loth cats in the first few episodes. Like, they look awesome. They look great. I want to see a Lothwolf, too.
Favorite is, so far, in any... I told you this last night, like, when I was watching it. The Lothwolves are my favorite Star Wars thing to ever come out of Star Wars ever. They're so fucking cool, and if I could see one in live action, Matt Damon, I would be so fucking happy. I actually have no beef with Matt Damon, but it's just fucking...
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I really want to see that in live. I imagine they'll look something very similar to, like, the direwolves in fucking Game of Thrones,
but
just
even
giant,
bigger
CGI wolves. Yeah.
One thing that kind of popped up during this episode is, again, going back to like Baylan Skoll, like being called by something through the Force. And he even says to, like, Shin, like, you go get them. This is where my path ends. I'm being called for something different. And she's like, but you're my master. Like, you're supposed to, like, be by my side and train me through this. And he's like, I've trained you to be more than a tool of the Empire, a tool of the Jedi or the Sith. Like, you're trained to be more. And something that kind of has been running through my mind is, one, what's calling to Baylan? Is it the temple entrance to the world between worlds, or is it something more? And only because I've been watching the Clone Wars, like I'd watched the first few seasons like years ago, and then I restarted it not too long ago, and I'm almost done with it. But in episode 6, or not episode 6, in season 6 of Clone Wars, like there's a lot of focus on the father, the daughter, and the son of the Force. They basically create the balance. They're on the mural in Rebels.
Sounds awfully familiar.
Yeah. What up? But there's also the mother. because the father is like the balance of the force, which would mean that the mother is complete chaos.
Mhm.
The Night Sisters are trying to bring back the mother because she's been banished somewhere. That's really all that we know, but it could be on Peridia with the like the ancestors of the Night Sisters, where they originated from. And it also kind of like loops back to Thrawn talking to Sabine, like, you threatened your entire galaxy for Ezra. Like, you don't know what you've done. Like, why are they so eager to leave this galaxy when they have all this power anyways? They could just take over, you know?
Mhm.
So, my theory is that the mother is on Peridia. And that's also why the Night Sisters are so eager to get out of there also. And that maybe Sabine was trained because of Balin's calling to be the Avatar, basically be a bodied host for the mother, which would just like fuck everything. But because with the World Between Worlds and all that being involved now and being fully canon, like, straight chaos can come from all of this.
I want to see more about, so they only barely touched on that, the World Between Worlds. And in the series finale of Rebels, they show that I almost called it direwolf. The Loth Wolf brings Ezra a tablet with 3 symbols on it, which is just 3 different like hand placements. And then when he brings it to the temple, there's those hand placements are on the wall, and that's what opens the portal for Ezra to go into.
And that's the
World
father,
Between
daughter, and
Worlds.
son.
Yeah. So I want to know more about that. I think that would be really cool if they did some explaining. Y'all got some explaining to do.
Lucy.
But it was really cool because I mean they in Rebels when Ezra uses it was fucking dope, but they don't give you any explanation as to where the tablet came from, how it works, like blah 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 blah. Ezra just kind of figures it out, goes in, saves Ahsoka, exits, and that's all we know about it.
Yeah.
So,
and now that's twice that Ahsoka's been in the World Between Worlds, because that's where we saw her meeting Anakin.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like the space-time continuum, you know, where it's like, man, it's like the center of everything.
Gigawatts, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, flux capacitors for the AC, you know.
I want to know more about that, but time will tell. I assume there will be another season of Ahsoka eventually, hopefully.
Now, hopefully.
I said
I
the
know.
past 2 episodes have been good. There's 2 more until it's over.
I do think that a reason why it doesn't undo the first few episodes where it was so much fan service.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that like I said, that through watching Rebels, you've gained more appreciation for the show.
Yes and no. I said it last week.
You did say yes. So
yeah, yes and no. I also slightly am more annoyed about it because they did nail certain characters, and then they also fucked up certain characters. In Rebels, I love Sabine's character; she's amazing. In Ahsoka, I just want to quote Ryan Reynolds in one of my honorable mentions this week. I want to hold her underwater until the bubbles stop. Her character is so annoying, but her cartoon character is fantastic. She's one of the best characters on the show.
yeah,
They just, for some reason, the live action adaptation of her is not the same.
I think that they tried to overdo her processing grief and being consumed by like the singular aspect of missing all of the Spectre. squad or Phoenix.
The Sphincter Squad.
But also they like
Starfish Squad.
They like threw away the fact that she was Mandalorian first, so like the duty to honor and duty. Thanks. Like so much of that was just like thrown by the wayside.
Yeah.
But there's one more episode, or is there two? Is it 8 or 9 episodes?
Okay. 2 more. 9 episodes.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna be like, if there's only one more episode, there's for sure gonna be a season 2.
They would, if there was only one more episode, I would not be
excited
as hyped about this show, because like if there's only 8 episodes and you only did 2 good ones, I'd be pissed.
Right.
Now if you have 9 episodes and you do 4 good ones, then you kind of had half a good season.
Yeah, there was 45%. In baseball, you can win the World Series with a 45% winning streak, But yeah, I'm excited. I'm sure that if there's not going to be a season 2 of Ahsoka, that it'll at least directly lead into some other project. There's no way that this is just like a one and done sort of thing.
I hope they do a season 2, because if they only give us 4 episodes with Ezra, that'll annoy the shit out of me. Actually, it's only 3 episodes, because like the first episode was like a couple minutes,
right?
Of Ezra, you know what I mean? Like, that would piss me off. Because if you watched Rebels, it's really the Ezra and Sabine are like kind of the focal point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Hera and Kanan and Zed, they're all main characters as well, but it really focuses on Ezra. And I know the show's called Ahsoka, so it's like,
but
they're not
also
gonna
like
make him the main character.
Ahsoka hasn't
done shit,
been the biggest focal point for most of the show either.
Yeah,
but
they should have just called it Rebels season 5. I mean,
yeah. Just call it Rebels.
Yeah. Sorry I blew up.
No, I'm glad that you're coming around on the show, because I'm still really enjoying it. The more that you talk about
wherever I'm needed.
Bet you would. The more that you talk about like some of the short fallings, like I'm starting to notice them a lot more instead of just being like, oh, fan service.
Yeah.
But it's still, I've enjoyed the entire season so far. But let's talk about our first sponsor, which is Nordic Brew Pub. Unless you have some last minute things you want to say about the show. I'm sorry.
No, sir.
Okay. Nordic Brew Pub, we are doing...
Actually, no, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
We're doing a collaboration and sponsorship with them. Currently, it's a fantastic brew pub based in Monticello, Minnesota. They've got a lot of great beers on tap. They do bring in some other like local beers as well, but I mean, they've got everything from stouts to IPAs. Dank Wagon, did I say it right this time? Is my favorite on their brew list. It's just an awesome. It's a hazy IPA, which is crazy because I'm not a big fan of hazies to begin with. But great food, lots of things to choose from. But if you are in the Twin Cities, Minnesota area and make a trip up to Nordic Brew Pub and you show them that you follow the show, that you're a fan, that you like and follow, your first beer is on us. So check them out if you're able to. They also have trivia. Is it Wednesday nights or Wednesdays? Check it out. It's a good time, great food. And let us buy you your first beer.
All right, we are going to talk about some nerd news and rumors. There's not a ton this week, unfortunately. Sorry.
You should be. God.
One of I should be, yeah, personally. One of the big things is that the strike is not technically over, but it is coming to an end.
Well, for the writers, it's over, but the SAG actors are still technically striking.
So they're coming to an agreement, which is good.
Yeah.
Please be over. It's our movies and we want it now. Called J.G. Wentworth.
All jokes aside, I mean, this is huge because for
Yeah.
the Writers Guild, a few months ago, the studios were like, "We'll never meet those demands. We'll never, like, we'll just move on, and you guys can all be out of work." And because of the overwhelming support, all of the Writers Guild demands were met. Higher wages, easier access to healthcare, cover up the drip spot. Was it condensation or did you spill?
Condensation.
Not as funny. Um, but also higher royalties based on streaming performance, not just all that equal pay for stream versus live cable. And the big thing that I saw was AI can't be used moving forward.
Yay.
This is fucking incredible. AI shouldn't be used in creative processes
Unless
at
it's
all.
like okayed by, you know what I mean? Like if it's okayed by the person that they're trying to use their likeness or whatever, like
Yeah.
then yeah, but yeah, you can't just be like, "Hey, we're going to use this person and we don't give a fuck if they say yes or not."
Yeah. And I mean, but they can't use AI to edit scripts or writing.
My bad.
They can't use, like, in the writing process, like, AI can't be used, which is
That's weird
awesome.
anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of reminds me of like, have you ever seen iRobot with Will Smith?
Mm-hmm.
You know there's like the part where Will Smith is like interrogating the robot and he's like, people can, write symphonies, do art, all these things. And he's like, robots can't do that. And the robot goes, "Can you?" And Will Smith goes, because the robot's like, "You can't do none of that shit either." But no,
Yeah.
yes, I agreed. I think that's fucking weird that you would even try to use AI for any of that shit anyway. Like,
Yeah.
then there's no creative. Like, that's not creative. That's just
It's rehashing old ideas at
Yeah.
that point in time because the AI has to run through hours of stuff that's already been done
mhm.
and then just rearrange some words to come up with a new idea. And I get it. Most writing and stories, depending on what sort of educator person that you talk to, can be narrowed down to, 3 plot points, like who am I, what have I done, who will I become, whatever. But having, like, banning machine learning and AI from being a part of that process, I think just gives it a more authentic touch. Even if, let's be honest, Star Wars, we just talked about Star Wars and Ahsoka, started off as a ripoff of both between Dune and the Russian Revolution. Like, meh. But it's still important to allow the writers their ability to do what they do best and not handing it over to a program.
Yeah. Agreed.
So this is huge. The SAG actors are still technically on strike, but they did go into talks earlier this week, which is also good news because the writers got everything they wanted. So hopefully it's the same. Whew. Sorry. I got very heated over that.
That's okay. Well, and then in some more exciting like news for like bands and stuff like that. Deadpool 3, there's a little bit of news on Deadpool 3. Apparently, Deadpool 3 is going to directly lead into Secret Wars. I was gonna say Secret Invasion, but I knew that wasn't right. God damn it. It's gonna lead into Secret Wars, which is awesome. Um, we also know that, uh, well, it's rumored. I don't think it's factual, but that this is going to be the goodbye to the original X-Men cast, and we'll be seeing the younger X-Men cast, Michael Fassbender, what's one
James
guy's name?
McAvoy.
McAvoy. Always his last name always gets me.
I always want to say McElroy, but that's the golfer.
So that we'll see them in Secret Wars as well. And then after that, we'll get the rebooted X-Men in the MCU,
Yeah.
which won't be any of them. So Hugh Jackman will be around for a little bit. And then
As well as
we'll see
rumored
some familiar
variants.
faces. Yeah. Oh yeah, the variants, yes. But it also just the OG X-Men and the first class X-Men will be around, but they will be getting a send-off, is the rumor.
Yeah.
And then rebooting with the actual
Yeah.
characters going forward.
Yeah. Some of the rumors surrounding this and Secret Wars is that, and this is kind of what we talked about in the past about rumors behind Deadpool 3, is he's taking the OG Logan to also try and find like a replacement for him in the MCU, more or less. Since the OG Logan obviously dies in Logan, but
Yeah.
kind of taking that, but we might get a glimpse at Battle World, of finding the best variants of these characters to then go on into the MCU. So it's kind of meta in that way of like, who's gonna do it, you or you, and then having the Battle World.
It'll be a soft reboot. Basically, like everything that's happened in the MCU so far is still canon, but this is their way of tying in Fantastic Four and the X-Men without having to reboot the entire MCU.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And it also gives them the opportunity to recast certain characters, bring back certain characters just with a new face, whether the actors behind it just don't want to continue on, but they still have plans for that hero, or if they just want to recast, whatever it might be. It opens up the door. I mean, we're going on, by the time Secret Wars comes around, that's going to be 2025, I think. So, I mean, that's 17 years since Iron Man 1. That's a long time for a franchise to be running, especially when, I don't know, people age.
That's the next book I'm gonna buy, is the Reign of Marvel. I think I sent it to you.
Yeah.
It
looks interesting. And how it just kind of like changed everything. Better or worse, depending on if you're Martin Scorsese or a fan, who also doesn't pay attention to the people that he compliments, while also shitting on their other projects unknowingly. It's fine. But yeah, I'm excited. It should be cool. We started with good news and then got into like exciting, like nerd rumors, but now we're going to bring it down to something that's a little bit sad. Michael Gambon, Dumbledore, for most of the people our age, has passed away. Very sad, but rest in peace. Our thoughts and other people that believe in prayer, all that goes out to your family, or the family and close friends. When you saw that news, was there any other thing that was tied to it that like tugged at your heartstrings other than just the news in general that he passed away? Jake?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Is there something that I told you that it did?
No,
And I just can't remember.
I just forgot to write it down. I saw a video of it was either like later in the day or it was the day after he passed, but at the Wizarding World in Orlando, you know, over the loudspeakers, you know, they were playing the song from the scene where he falls off the tower. And everyone, you know, had their wands up. It was... That actually, like... I teared up a little bit.
Those of you who are not watching this and just listening to it, I am holding my wand up.
Yeah.
And I mean an actual Harry Potter wand, not my penis.
Yes, because this goes on YouTube and that's not allowed. Before we started recording, he did the other. I'm just kidding. But no, it was very touching. I've seen all kinds of things, even in Scotland, like on the loch, you know, where his grave is in the movies, like that little island, just someone flying their drone over it and like playing audio of Dumbledore speaking, and it's crazy. I mean, he was in so much more than just Harry Potter, but I think for a lot of people our age and in our interests of nerd, like that's Dumbledore, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But so rest in peace, Michael Gambon. Like we said, there wasn't a lot of nerd stuff. Was there anything else that you remembered as we were talking or anything like that, or?
No, I think we could just go into sponsor 2 here.
Well, let's
if
do
you're
it.
good with it.
Do it to it.
Sponsor number 2 is Crybaby Craig's Hot Sauce. That is our sponsor title. Our title sponsor, Strunk. Crybaby Craig's Hot Sauce. It's a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes on practically anything. Listen up, we'll tell you more about it.
Hey, you nerds. Do you love spice? Supporting small businesses? What about enhancing the flavor of your favorite foods? If you said yes to any of those, our good friends over at Crybaby Craig's have the perfect solution for you. Crybaby Craig's is a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes perfectly with your favorite foods, adding the perfect amount of spice and enhancing the flavor of everything it touches. Started in Minneapolis by Craig back in 2012, Crybaby Craig's has become a Minneapolis and Minnesota staple in the sauce world. So head over to crybabycraigs.com and order yours today. All right, everyone. For our final spot for this week, we want to talk about Gen V, now streaming on Prime Video. It's a spin-off, but it's still very much connected to the world of The Boys. And, I mean, spoiler alert, we're going to talk about the first few episodes because 3 of them dropped this past week, and then it'll be 1 episode a week after that. But, so spoiler alert, that's enough time. This show is fucking rad. It's gory, like you'd expect it to be.
It's like it's everything The Boys is, just some different characters.
Yeah, just
younger characters,
like high school, college,
I think.
I'm assuming, but they never actually say names.
Yeah,
but yeah, like
it's
college.
As bloody as.
Well, they do say university, so yeah.
No, I mean, I was laughing every time something like gory would happen. I was like cracking up, and Nicole's just like, "Dude,
there's something wrong with you, man."
But like, you know, you're watching it too, so shut up. You know.
Can't wait for her reaction next week to what we did this week because of that line.
No, it's super, super fun. The gore, the nudity, all of Chad's favorite kind of nudity. Um,
That's so unnecessary because you only see a dick. One dick. God, you're mean sometimes.
wiener, wiener, wiener.
One wiener next to
Next to
another wiener.
wiener, 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 wiener. No, it's super good. The main character I'm struggling to like. I think she is kind of a biatch.
Yeah.
But her roommate is awesome. She's probably my favorite character in the show so far.
Agreed.
Her name is Cricket.
Yeah.
She can turn very, very small. But she has to purge
Throw up.
herself to do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, she has to throw up to do it. And then to grow big, she has to eat. So,
And they made a comment in either the second or the third episode with her just delightful mother. Just kidding, her mom
Yeah.
sucks. But like, oh, you look a couple inches shorter than normal, like we should pay attention to your like calorie intake a little bit more. So like, does that mean that if she just like continues to like overeat, that then she becomes
like Ant-Man.
yeah.
Little guy's big now. Little guy's big now. Uh, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm intrigued by that. But yeah, I mean, this, for what the show is, you know, it's just like the boys, you know, showing how in real life, if there were superpowered superheroes, everything like that, like, you would make a fucking corporation around that and exploit it and be all sorts of terrible. But at the same time, like, this show already, just in the first few episodes, has explored some very real and deep issues that affects a lot of younger people just in general. Not just young people, like, it's
Just
not
small
an age
penis sizes, and you know other important things
Just
like
that
bulimia and
random line just like diminished how serious some of these other things are, like mental health and self-harm and like gender identity. You know,
You don't
'cause
think small penises is an issue in this country, in this world?
I mean, yes, to some people. Some other people, like myself, embrace it. It's statistically average, in case anyone wondered. And now, if anyone,
I don't know why you're talking about penises
I don't know
so much. It's kind of weird.
You started this. Super not digging it.
No, it's a very you to your point. No pun intended. It is. They do a lot of
Point?
stuff.
You can't even like get through this seriously now.
There are some issues with, you know, like bulimia and cutting and gender. Oh fuck! I'm gonna fuck this up.
We're not going to use
Dysphoria.
that word.
Okay,
just
that's
gender
not the word that-
identity.
Identity. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's wild. I mean, one of my favorite parts of the show is one of the heroes or heroes in training, I guess.
Yeah.
Their power is that one of their powers is that they can change between male and female identities.
Yeah.
But they also have superpowers.
Presenting. Yeah.
But also in one form, in the male form, they're very strong, and then in the female form, there's almost like an energy like blast,
Yeah.
like when they're fighting the torch
You
guy,
call him
whatever.
Golden Boy.
Golden Boy, yeah. But But yeah, one of my favorite scenes is where their dad is like talking about how good of a son they are and blah blah blah, and then they get so sick of it that they transform into their female form, and I was like, fuck yeah.
And
Like
yeah,
fuck him.
it was super rad because then their dad was like, you were my firstborn son, like,
Mm,
you know, and they even admit to trying to alleviate some of the bigotry of the parents of like,
mhm,
we know that for a lot of people, like, it's not a choice, like, you are who you are. He's like, but you can choose.
mhm.
And then their character's name is Jordan Lee. Says, Dad, I'm still the same kid that was obsessed with PlayStation, that loves all these things. Like, I've always been me. Like, nothing's changed about who I am. It's just that you are unwilling to accept. And it's just I don't know. It's a really interesting dissection of what like non-binary people are.
That's like what you were saying is that, yeah, there's for what this show is, there's some very serious like undertones to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I think we both agree that Cricket is currently our favorite character. Emma, she's the one that can shrink down by throwing up and then get larger by eating. And on top of this, it really explores like the superficial aspect of most people. Like, it's all about the Instagram, it's all about the likes, and we've seen that in The Boys already. Because it's coming from like a corporate standpoint. But like Emma, Cricket's mom, is talking to like a show producer, and they're wanting to pitch a rebrand for her, because in exploring the aspect, because she was outed that in order to shrink she has to like force herself to throw up, and her mom's like all on board with this, like, this is gonna be so great for you, think of how much money you'll make, how many people will love you. And the producer's just like all about it, like, yeah, we'll make it like the show a little bit more like dark and edgy, and then Cricket's like, did you know that my mom's the one that showed me how to throw up to get smaller and taught me how to do this so that I could fit in?
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't like, there's so many underlying important topics, but they do it in the setting of a superhero show. Like, I love this.
Yeah.
Plus the gore.
I was like, minus all that, there is all the action and gore that The Boys gives you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gruesome deaths, people exploding.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's wild. I mean, back to talking about Cricket, when she's small, she literally climbs through a dude's ear, burrows through the head, and comes out the other ear. It's just like a bloody mess.
Just covered in blood, yeah.
Like, holy shit.
It's wild. It's wild. I don't know how to even, whatever. Just, if you liked The Boys, watch this. I imagine this is going to tie, I mean, it does tie directly into The Boys, but I'm curious if any of these characters will be in The Boys, like, in the future.
I'm
You know
sure
what I mean?
some of them are, because that's kind of how like the first episode started. Is Golden Boy was going
The
to
Human Torch, if you will.
yeah, basically, with some Superman abilities at the same time, was going to be the newest member of the Seven, because like Starlight left, countless others have died.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that we'll see some of these characters moving forward. I would at least hope so.
I hope so.
And maybe even some of the soups, as they've always called them, the ones that are kind of like questioning the level of this will become part of the boys or help them in some way moving
That's
forward.
kind of what I was hoping is because like Homelander is
A fascist.
practically unstoppable.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Batman's a fascist. Yeah, I don't know, man. The show is fucking cool. Go watch it. It's bloody. It's got everything you want.
And more.
No boobs. A little bit of penis. No female nudity.
But that's kind of
So-
how the boys has been so far
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
We've
little bestiality here and there. Not on Gen Z or Gen V, but in the boys.
I see what you did there. Probably not intentional, but it was funny.
It was not intentional.
It was still funny. But even, I mean, was it season 3 when they did Herogasm?
Mm. Oh, that was a weird one.
But like the dude with like the big snake cock, you see him like locked up, like in a blink and you'll miss it scene in this show in the first couple episodes.
Locked up, it won't let me out. Cocked up.
Yes, he was. What? No, but the show is really enjoyable so far. Other than, I think the only 2 characters that we've encountered where I haven't been like, you're also kind of a piece of shit, has been Jordan Lee and Cricket. And I guess Sam, but like that's kind of not his fault. He's locked up and made to believe that he's crazy.
Jordan Lee. Oh, Jordan. Okay, yeah, Jordan. Yeah. And then who'd you say, Sam?
Sam, that's
Sam,
Golden
the
Boy's
brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to like.
Marie.
No.
Andre.
I'm trying to like him. He just hasn't sold me. I do not like Marie at all right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
sucks.
She seems very like self-centered and like pity me, and then other people are like, we also have tragic backstories or tragic things going on. You're not special. Your parents gave you a bunch of drugs and now you have powers.
We talked about that off camera, and I had said that was probably like my favorite part of all 3 episodes is that the main character, her name is Marie Moreau, and she's been kind of walking around with a chip on her shoulder for the first 3 episodes and being kind of a bitch to everybody, and finally she like opens up to the other characters about why she's being such a bitch, and they're like, yeah, me too, like I killed my little brother, like, and then it kind of like takes her back a notch, like, oh shit,
yeah,
I'm not special here. Yeah. Like,
and I hope that, because like I want to like this character.
well, she's the main character. I'm sure she will be likable, and it's also a personal thing. Like, I personally think she's just kind of a bitch.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, just it's like she needed to be humbled. Like, yeah, you're here, but so are we. Like, oh, your powers have the ability to be super traumatic and hurt people. So do ours. And when we didn't realize that we had powers, that's exactly what they did. I don't know, but the show is rad. I'm excited to see, because even at the end of episode 3, it's the coming up next, like a little trailer for episode 4.
Yeah.
And it just looks like it's just going to go more and more off the hinges, and I'm just so excited for it.
Yeah. Go watch it. It's good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much that I watched all 3 episodes back to back. So
yeah, because we were only going to talk about the first 2, and then you text me, you're like, just kidding, starting the 3rd episode now, and I was like, good, me too, I already started it. So yeah, go check it out. It perfectly fits in as a spin-off side story that doesn't feel isolated from The Boys. But it also stands alone enough on its own. So yeah, go check that out. Is anything else you want to
No, let's close it out.
All right.
All right, but before we close out this episode, we are going to talk about our honorable mentions. Honorable. Chad, what do you got?
You smell burnt toast by any chance? I didn't watch a lot of variety this week. While I'm working, I either have like a podcast or music playing, or sometimes I'll throw on, like a TV show that I've seen 1,000 times. This week I rewatched No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home. Other than that, I've just been powering through the Clone Wars animated series. That's really all that I have. So I don't have a whole lot to talk about because I've been talking about Clone Wars for the past few weeks. So I'm just really enjoying it. But what about you? What do you have?
Well, I finished watching Rebels finally yesterday. And then this morning, I usually take the kid downstairs so Nicole can catch up on some sleep. And we watched The Adam Project again. I've only seen it once when it first came out. Watched it a second time today. Still very likable. Love that movie. And then, oh yeah, fuck.
This one seems like it's a dishonorable mention.
Yeah, there's a movie called No One Will Save You on Hulu. It's about aliens. It's so bad. There's no fucking dialogue in this movie. None. I'm not exaggerating. I mean, there is zero dialogue. There are no words spoken in this movie. Even A Quiet Place, where the whole point of the movie was to be quiet or you'd get murdered, had more words than this movie because this movie had zero. The aliens are underwhelming. The plot is stupid. There's like a subplot to it. Spoiler alert. She brutally murdered her best friend and the aliens take pity on her and let her live. It's the most confusing and stupid fucking movie I've ever watched in my entire life. 9 out of 10. Go watch it. No, I'm just kidding. I stole that from that guy on TikTok. Yeah. This guy on TikTok just like trashed this movie and then was like, 9 out of 10. Would watch again. No, it's terrible. Don't watch it. Unless you want to watch it and talk to me about how much you hated it. So I have somebody to talk to about it, then please do.
Or if you watch it and love it, I want to see that conversation happen between you.
And then unfollow our fucking podcast. This is the dumbest fucking movie I've ever seen. By the third act, I was like going like this, like head in my hands, just like rubbing my temples, like, oh my fucking god, this is so dumb. This is so dumb. And then, yeah, you're like, if that's the end of the movie, I'm gonna be pissed. And then it's like credits, and you're like, yeah,
just table
so
flip.
That's all I got.
Thank you for sharing. We mentioned it at the very start of this episode, but if you like this show, the best thing to do is to like, share, and subscribe, whether it's social media or wherever you get your podcasts. To go a step above, that we would love even more, is if you were to give us your money, right? That'd be pretty sweet. The best way to do that is over at buymeacoffee.com/allthingsnerd. You get some behind the scenes, some bonus content, depending on the level that you get in on. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Depending on the level that you subscribe at, you get some member exclusive merch. You get added to a group chat with Jake and myself. All that's there. If you don't want to give us your money on a monthly basis, I mean, lame. I get it. But you can always just go over to allthingsnerdpodcast.com and pick up some merch. That way you get something We get a little something. We don't make money on this. Every dime that comes into the podcast, we put right back into it in one way or another. So it just helps. We'd like it. Any final thoughts, Jake? Sorry, I just like steamrolled through that instead of being like, Jake,
Nope.
what should they do?
Nope.
All right. Well, we love you either way, whether you give us your money or not, but you should totally give us your money. And Jake, what has this been?
This has been the All Things Nerd podcast.